What is something that you will get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Well, if you're talking about on TikTok, absolutely anything. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
You lost the game.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Oh, a lot of people are gonna hate me for this one. But it has to be said. Android is better than Apple.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Wearing other people's wigs is weird to me. And this goes for everybody that wear other people's wigs, that buy other people's wigs that didn't wear anything. Wearing somebody else's wig that they didn't have on their head, or wearing somebody else's tracks that they didn't wear, it's weird to me. I could not wear somebody else's hair, like never. Like, I'm not buying some shit that you done put on your head and now you want to sell and sell it to me. No. And as a friend too, I'm not about to ask you, can I wear your hair or can I wear your wig? It's weird. Don't y'all think that's weird? Like, is it me or is it weird to wear somebody else's hair? I'm just a real ass bitch and I stand on what I stand on. It's weird, bitches. It's weird.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Oh, I've got a few of these. Your students likely know exactly where you stand politically, whether you actually explicitly tell them or not, because they're looking for someone who is safe for them. Teaching about the atrocities that the United States has and continues to commit is not teaching students to hate the United States. And it's not leftist indoctrination in education. That's not a thing. Parents who have issues with their children having differing opinions than them really only see their children as extensions of themselves and not as their own people. Teachers who have children aren't inherently better at being teachers. If careers like education, nursing, and social work were male-dominated, they would be far more respected by society. A lot of school policies are more focused on compliance and obedience than they are on actual student safety, and more often than not are rooted in things like racism, ableism, sexism, so on and so forth.
What is something that you will get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Oh, the hate is coming. There is some toxicity in every community. Doesn't matter. Anime, cosplay, men, women, black, white, TikTok. And if you point them out or make a slight jab, you'll be getting canceled for it. I said what I said.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
That addiction rehab treatment facilities, most of them are a complete and total scam. Now, disclaimer, I am not trying to get anyone to not go to treatment. I think you should go to treatment if it's available, but you have to do your research. To give you a little backstory, I worked as a therapist for 3 years in residential, outpatient, and inpatient, which are all different levels of treatment. Now, it is more beneficial for a treatment facility for you to relapse than for you to remain sober because they get more patients, they get to rerun insurance. The way they do this is after 30 days, they refer you to a sober living, and that sober living can actually be in cahoots with them a little bit, and they'll get outside people to get you to relapse and pay you a little bit of money for you to go back to treatment. And this is also a form of committing insurance fraud. And also, if you know somebody who's relapsed in addiction, know that the cards are completely stacked against them, even if they're trying to get help.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
If you are trying to get to that next level in life, it is imperative that you evaluate the people that are around you. Sorry, I hate to say it, but not everyone is going to be with you in that next phase of your life. Are the people around you working on themselves? Are they positive? Are they doing something that inspires you? Can they teach you something? Do they know more than you about something? Do you see yourself being around them when you do leisure activities, when you travel? Do you see yourself with them to that next step? Because if you don't, if they're negative, if they're always caught in the same cycle, if they're just your drinking buddy, your partying buddy, what do you think is going to happen when you start to grow? They're going to try to knock you down. They're going to try to put doubt into your mind, and you don't need that. You already know. You already have that insecurity in your head, so you cannot let your mind hear more negativity.
I do not believe the female gaze exists.
the male gaze, the fact that that's a term, would insinuate that the female gaze exists, but I genuinely don't think it exists. You know, there's that trend where everyone's posting like Pinterest boards of what they think the female gaze is, and a lot of it is actually not very good, and it's just perpetuating hyperfemininity and like westernized ideal beauty. But I think that the female gaze is just how society would function without the male gaze. I think the female gaze is the absence of the male gaze, not its own entity in itself. People say female gaze is Loki hot, Loki shirtless in MCU stuff. I don't know about any of that, but like that's what they say. But that's, the female gaze isn't real because we've never been able to gaze.
That's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud.
Baccarat Rouge does not even smell that good, and it is not even nearly the top scent from MFK. Valentino Donna Born in Roma is a letdown. If you pride yourself on just buying niche perfumes and only niche and like the coolest of the cool, trendiest, edgiest brand, you suck. If you shame people for buying more affordable dupes of luxury or niche fragrances, you suck. I am tired of hearing you say this smells like old lady. Old ladies know what they're talking about. Most Gucci perfumes suck. If you have the nads to charge over $200 for a perfume that doesn't last more than 3 hours, you suck. Looking at you, Tom Ford. Almost every recommendation I tried from TikTok before I joined sucked. It's so much better now that I'm here. Do we agree?
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Herbalife is absolutely useless. The only reason that Herbalife might work for you is because you are in a calorie deficit. If you have exchanged your breakfast and your lunch for a shake that is only a few hundred calories, you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit. It's got nothing to do with Herbalife and the crappy ingredients that are actually in it.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
I hate football. I hate it. It's awful.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Weight loss is not something that you should congratulate someone for unless they're explicitly celebrating it. Most of the time, we have no idea what that person went through in order to lose that weight. It could have been from a sickness. It could have been from depression. And it could be that exercise is just good for their mental health. And don't let me get started on those of you who say you look so good and you're so beautiful after weight loss. And no, I won't be explaining this further.
I don't like pumpkin spice lattes.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Online political debate culture is a lot more useful for the right than it is for the left, and honestly, I think leftists should just stop engaging with it. Because you can bring as many statistics, facts, and pieces of research to a debate as you want, but the right will always find a way to sensationalize your point of view, which pushes people who are on the fence to the right and only confirms to the people who are already on the right that the left is out to get them. Because I've seen debates happen online where the person on the left has definitely won. They've brought all of the evidence they need to back up their claims, whereas the person on the right has not. But the opinion of who's won the debate is split in the comments. And at the end of the day, a lot of them just turn into a competition of who can make the other person more emotional. And as soon as you get emotional in an online debate, you have lost, regardless of how well you can back up your claims. Yes, there have been people brought over to the left from the right because of debates. However, you can expose people to leftist talking points without platforming members of the alt-right who only need the existence of the struggle to win.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Jesus isn't God. Christ is really a representation of a person's awareness of their need for growth and elevation in their journey of enlightenment and consciousness, therefore Christ consciousness. The black man and woman together are God. Religion has trapped us into believing that an external God or source exists, and that's who we need to worship for salvation, when in reality, we are the supreme beings as Black men and women. God exists within us. The power is within us as supreme beings. Therefore, we don't need to look outside or elsewhere for that power or validation. And religion has gone out of its way to demonize our ancient practices, our African spirituality, our original roots, our connection to ancestors, and other practices to keep us from finding out and practicing and knowing who we truly are.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
People living in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland are under absolutely no obligation whatsoever to support England in sporting competitions that our own teams are not competing in. If anything, the insistence that we have to blindly is usually what results in us supporting whatever team England is against. It's literally pure spite.